What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and today we're going to be continuing our 32-team 7-round mock draft. And today we are looking at the Arizona Cardinals as of March 24th, holding on to the 15th overall pick. So before we jump into the mock draft, we need to look at free agency and see how that lays out the framework for how we made our mock draft. And I'm going to be honest, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to be biased as no one ever has been before in a mock draft. I'm trying to be, as an Eagle fan, it's very tough to not be biased, but I'm trying to approach it like that. Try to be neutral, but I hate everything the Cardinals have done in this offseason. But look at who they brought in. They brought in Sam Bradford on a one-year deal. It's a massive, massive gamble. If it works out, he is a fine starting quarterback. Is he a guy that can elevate this team that needs, maybe that little bit of elevation to compete in the NFC West? Don't think so, but I mean, he could if he needed a bridge QB, which is what I think they are, because we'll land him a quarterback at some point during this draft. It could be worse. They also brought in Mike Glennon to be his backup. That's a lot of money to have invested at the quarterback spot, and we'll talk about money in just one second. Then they brought in Andre Smith, who's kind of been a bust, but he's an all-right offensive lineman, serviceable. Then they brought in Justin Pugh from the Giants. I thought that was actually a decent signing. The contract's a little ugly, but ultimately, when you look at all the names that were available in free agency, he probably was a fringe top 5 available offensive lineman. So they did a decent job there. Look at what they lost. They lost Kareem Martin. We got some valuable snaps at linebacker. Tremont Williams, who, he's really, really old, but if you want to look at Pro Football Focus, graded out incredibly well last year. Credit to James Betcher, who's no longer there. They cut Honey Badger, which makes 0 sense to me, to be completely honest. I get it if you want to get younger and save some money. But the fact that you're paying Sam Bradford, Mike Glennon almost like $30 million, and you get rid of a guy that's creating a massive hole in your defense, a guy that's flexibility, can have you play at safety, can play at nickel, doesn't make sense to me. Like, unless he was being a locker room cancer or something like that, and by all reports he's not, I don't understand that move whatsoever, especially when you're a team with Arizona that doesn't necessarily have all the talent in the world. You got to hold on to your young guys that are proven playmakers. And then they just recently traded, as the day of me recording this, Jared Veld here, starting right tackle. Played some left tackle as well to the Denver Broncos. So now there's a big need, a big void, a big hole at offensive tackle. Don't worry, because jumping into the mock draft at pick 15, I was selecting offensive tackle Connor Williams from Texas. I believe, looking at the depth chart, he could start at right tackle 1, or if you really feel more comfortable having DJ Humphries play at right tackle, you can slide him to left tackle. Connor Williams is the best tackle in this year's draft class. Really, really solid tape for the most part. Had a couple bad games, but he was playing those games injured from the reports that I've looked into. Tested well at the combine, was probably the coming in my opinion, he's been my top tackle since last offseason, and nothing about this year really changed that up to me. If his injury was worse than it was initially reported, that could have hurt him a little bit, but ultimately his draft stock stayed perfectly fine. I think he is the best and safest tackle in this year's draft class, and if you have Sam Bradford as your quarterback, gotta protect him. Going to the second round, pick 47, I have them taking quarterback Mason Rudolph from Oklahoma State. Should come in to be quarterback 2 behind Sam Bradford, learn a thing or two, develop and get out of that air raid scheme, and make that transition. Now, I know they have Mike McCoy there. He's, pretty good QB mind, pretty good learnable offense. I don't know what their QB coach is, but I think Mason Rudolph is a guy that the draft class wasn't as top-heavy with quarterbacks. He could be viewed as a first-round quarterback. Has one of the nicest throwing motions I've ever seen, has a great arm, good athlete. And he's going to a nice situation here in Arizona where he doesn't have to play right away. And I think, I don't want to compare him to, bring things back to the Philadelphia Eagles. But looking at Carson Wentz, if you have a good OC, you have a good head coach. Well, obviously their head coach is a defensive guy from Carolina. If you have a good OC and you have a good QB coach, if you have those tangible assets, they can get the most out of you. It's not like you're going to a team like Cleveland that's just a graveyard for quarterbacks. And I think Mason Rudolph, if he goes with the right staff there in Arizona, which I'm not 100% up on outside of Mike McCoy, he could very well be a very capable starter from 2019 onward. And getting that in the second round, that's good value for the Arizona Cardinals, not having to give up a king's ransom to trade up and grab. Like, really, in reality, I love Lamar Jackson. I really do like Josh Allen more than most, but I would not have Mason Rudolph that far off if we're trying to rank those quarterbacks based off of their talent. Going to the third round, pick 79, I was selecting defensive end Deshaun Hand from Alabama. Looking at the roster, I think he could challenge to start at one of the defensive end spots. I mean, they have Olsen Pierre, who got a couple sacks last year. You have Robert Condici, who was a 2016 first-round pick, kind of struggling there a little bit. So I think a guy like Deshaun Hand, obviously coming from Alabama, he's pro-ready. Good size to him, I think he's like 290, something like that. So it's a prototypical 3-4 end build. Very high upside. A lot of draft scouts are really, really high in him. So having him here in the third round for a team that, based off of their front three, you need to find a way to get sacks. It can't all come down onto Chandler Jones to get, your 15, 16 sacks a year. He needs some help. I think a guy like Deshaun Hand could develop into that guy. Going to the second third round pick 97, I have them selecting a corner that I'm higher on than most, just because it just seemed like every rare LSU game I watched, he was playing in it, and that is Kevin Tolliver from LSU. Didn't play a whole lot of football. That is kind of why he is down here at third round and not a little bit higher, because, came out incredibly hyped from high school, and it just seemed like every game I watched him play for LSU, he balled out. Doesn't matter if Tre'Davious White was in the game. We saw what he did with the Bills. Who else do we have there? Not Greedy. Greedy Williams this year a little bit. He's really, really good. Probably going to be a first. Basically, he played with a lot of guys that were first, second, day one, early day two picks in LSU. And when he got his chance, he looked as good as all of them. So I know he hasn't played a whole lot of football, be it injuries and stuff like that. And it's just tough to get snaps there at LSU. But like I said, this is more so a personal vouch. I mean, his draft stock, a lot of people have him graded between a third and like a late fourth, somewhere between then. But I think ultimately when you look at the Arizona Cardinals depth chart, outside of Patrick Peterson, there's no proven guy there. You have, Brandon Williams, a 2016 third round pick. I mean, looking at these picks, to be honest with you, the Cardinals have not drafted particularly well over the last couple years. And I don't really know if Brandon Williams is going to be that guy that can start. And outside of that, there's just a bunch of guys. So I really do like Kevin Tolliver, and nice LSU combination back there with Pat Pete could be nice. Going to the fourth round pick 134, why not get Mason Rudolph's number 1B target, who I think also adds a nice dimension to their offense, and that is selecting wide receiver Marcel Aitman from Oklahoma State. I think he'd come in, challenge for that wide receiver 3 spot. I mean, what's going on with Chad Williams, 2017 third round pick? What was that pick about? Is he going to make a big leap? I don't know. I'm not going to write him off because I don't really know anything about him, to be honest. I didn't know much about him when he was coming out of the draft. I was like, who's this guy in the third round? And literally I didn't hear his name once last year. So I don't know if that was Bruce Arians just being a little senile old man and drafting him. But when you look at the wide receiver core, you have J.J. Nelson, who's a good deep threat only. You have Larry Fitzgerald in the slot because he's getting up there in age. But I think a guy like Marcel Aitman, big-bodied wide receiver, a little bit of it's literally if you kind of combo Larry Fitzgerald and J.J. Nelson. Ideally, you might be able to find a better wide receiver here that can complement what they already have. But I think long-term, just go best wide receiver available here in the fourth round. Marcel Aitman looked all right at the combine. Heard he had a very good pro day. James Washington is regarded as the better of the two Oklahoma State wide receivers. And from what I read about the pro day, Marcel Aitman was on fire, and James Washington struggled a little bit. So ultimately, I think in the fourth round, when you're looking at adding another playmaker for Sam Bradford and company, I think Aitman is your best bet at wide out. Going to the fifth round pick, 152, I have selecting linebacker Kenny Young from UCLA. Looking at the depth chart, I think he could challenge for inside linebacker 3. When you're looking at it right now, really in the interior, because it looks like they have Hassan Riddick kind of floating in between inside and the will linebacker. They have Deion Buchanan. Deion Buchanan is good in coverage. He's a good cover linebacker, converted safety. But outside of that, Carlos Dansby wasn't re-signed. You have Scooby Wright, who's really, really nice out of Arizona, but I think he has his limitations. And there's not much else. So Kenny Young, I mean, just another one of these really, really athletic UCLA linebackers that kind of started with Miles Jack and continued last year with, I can't remember his name. He's on the Tennessee Titans. Again, another guy like these linebackers that look like they're built like they're safeties, and they play linebacker. So I think Kenny Young definitely adds something there for a 3-4 scheme. Would be a good fit to add depth for the Arizona Cardinals because they're not particularly stacked at the linebacking core. Interior, that is. And then finishing up here in the 7th round, we're going to get Honey Badger's replacement for depth at 238, safety Chucky Williams from Louisville. I think he can come in, challenge he can play strong, he can play free, he's versatile there. At times, if Lamar Jackson was struggling, Chucky Williams, when healthy, looked like probably the best player on Louisville's defense last year because, for the most part, Jair Alexander was out injured. Chucky Williams, very versatile safety. I think when you're in the 7th round, you want to find guys that can crack the final 53, contribute on special teams. And really, when you look at the safety core, you have Budda Baker, okay? And then old guys. Tyvon Branch wasn't re-signed. Antoine Bethea is old as shit. You have Harlan Miller, Rudy Ford. Go and just get some safety depth. Again, I don't know why they got rid of Honey Badger. They created a hole there when, in reality, it didn't seem like he wanted out of Arizona. So, yeah, get safety depth here. Get a guy that can chip in on special teams in Chucky Williams. So, there you go, guys. That is my mock draft for the Arizona Cardinals. I kind of had to tweak it a little bit. I recorded it once. I didn't have them going wide receiver. Things kind of, I reevaluated it. The more I looked at the current wide receiver core, I was like, I probably should rework my mock draft here and get the Marcel Aitman. Originally, I had them in the 4th round, getting another tackle. But in reality, it seems like they are high on my boy DJ Humphries from Florida, who, according to Pro Football Focus, has been average throughout his career. But, yeah, you know, I feel like, you know, at the 4th round, going wide receiver is a little bit better value, especially, and fills a need a little bit better than grabbing a tackle. But ultimately, if you have your own Arizona Cardinals mock draft, let me know in the comment section below. We can do a nice little comparison side by side. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.